Former DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson has been found guilty of rape and 17 other sexual offences. His two victims were young girls when he targeted them. He's been remanded in custody and will be sentenced in the autumn. His wife, Eleanor Donaldson, was found to have aided and abetted his crimes.
Once a celebrated politician, now a convicted paedophile. Judge Paul Ramsey had told the jury of 7 men and 5 women that in order to convict Jeffrey Donaldson, they had to be sure he was guilty. They were sure.
The first charge was the most serious, that he raped one of his victims while she was a pupil at primary school. When asked for the verdict on that charge, the foreman of the jury replied, guilty. It was the same answer for each of the other 17 charges. He was also found guilty of 13 counts of indecent assault and 4 of gross indecency. The judge told him to expect a lengthy sentence before remanding him into custody and telling the custody officers, take Mr. Donaldson down.
He's been found to have subjected 2 victims to a range of sexual abuse while they were children. Jeffrey Donaldson had tried to portray them as liars. The jury concluded that he was the liar, as well as a rapist and sex offender. His wife, Eleanor Donaldson, was found to have aided and abetted his offending. She was found to have committed 5 offences she was charged with. She faced a trial of the facts, as she was deemed medically unfit to face a criminal trial and will not go to prison.
Jeffrey Donaldson showed no expression as each of the verdicts was read. His victims have been believed and vindicated, while the career of one of Northern Ireland's most high-profile politicians for a generation has ended in shame and humiliation. He's gone from the UK's birthday honours list to the sex offenders list, from the palace to prison.
Jeffrey Donaldson left Newry Crown Court in a prison van. There'll be a pre-sentencing hearing on the 25th of September. Shortly after that, he'll learn how long he'll spend in prison for his crimes. Vincent Kearney, RT News, Newry Crown Court.
Jeffrey Donaldson came to public prominence when he staged a last-minute walkout of the Good Friday Agreement negotiations in 1998. He didn't accept the deal and went on to swap sides within unionism to the more hardline DUP. He would rise to lead that party until Good Friday 2024, when police finally knocked on his door.
Jeffrey Donaldson began abusing in his early 20s. He was just starting out on a political path to the top of unionism. He had all the qualifications: Orange Order membership, a deep faith, service in the Ulster Defence Regiment.
I am proud to be part of this United Kingdom. I am proud to have served my country in this Parliament for almost 27 years.
But he also had a sexual interest in children. The first offences were in the mid-80s, 12 years before he became an Ulster Unionist MP. Just as he was about to win a Westminster seat, they first caught up with him. A disclosure in the late 90s by one of his accusers led to a face-to-face meeting with her at this County Antrim Christian Centre. The meeting ended in a resolution of sorts, with Mr. Donaldson apologising to his teenage victim. An apology that he later denied related to sexual offences. 4 months later, he won the Lagan Valley seat he'd hold for 27 years until his arrest.
Well, I'm delighted to just have handed in my nomination papers. This is the 6th time that I'm standing. Oh, sorry, it's the 7th time.
Within a couple of years, he'd moved on to another victim. It took a further 2 decades for the cracks to begin to appear. When that second victim confided in her husband, the facade began to crumble. Conversations turned into confrontations. It was the beginning of the end. He'd switched from Ulster Unionism to the DUP, and by 2021 he was in a battle for the leadership of that party. His trial heard he regarded this as God's calling.
And I think that what we've seen tonight, as we did last Saturday, was our party coming together, healing, uniting, and looking to the future.
You wouldn't have guessed it, but around now he was under serious pressure in his private life. His marriage was in crisis over a previous affair. His wife had bugged his car for proof of further infidelity, The abuse allegations were also resurfacing. He collapsed Stormont power sharing in a row over the implementation of Brexit.
The package of measures in totality does provide a basis for our party to nominate members to the Northern Ireland Executive.
As he negotiated a return to devolved government, his victims were talking to one another. Just as he agreed to go back in spring 2024, the women agreed to come forward. At St Patrick's Day celebrations in America, Jeffrey Donaldson was lauded for restoring Stormont. He had no idea his victims had made a formal police complaint. He returned a hero, but within weeks, detectives were knocking on his door. The very public politician was about to have his private persona revealed. Conor Macaulay, RTE News.
Well, let's speak now to our northern editor, Vincent Kearney, who's in Newry. Vincent, a man who wielded so much power in the past, Jeffrey Donaldson, is now behind bars. This was a trial of historic proportions, wasn't it?
Absolutely, Sharon. There hasn't been a trial of this nature in the history of Northern Ireland, nor indeed the history of this Ireland. One of the most prominent politicians of this generation found guilty of rape and other serious sexual offences. And this was someone who, just before he was arrested, as you saw in Conor Macaulay's package, was being lauded in Washington at St Patrick's events. He was enjoying the political spotlight, being hailed as a political hero for taking the DUP back into devolution. And it's hard to overstate the sense of shock there was here when he was arrested and charged, because Jeffrey Donaldson was a man who was small in stature but who wielded enormous political influence. Over the years he met many Taoiseach, British Prime Ministers, American Presidents. He was in and out of number 10 Downing Street on a regular basis during political negotiations. He was a man who was viewed by the Irish and British governments as someone who was absolutely essential to have on board for devolution at Stormont to work, for power sharing to work. And when he took the DUP back into Stormont just over 2 years ago, there was talk at that time that he might resign his Westminster seat at the next British general election to focus on becoming a member of the Stormont Assembly and cementing his position as a foremost unionist politician here. That, of course, won't happen now. His career has ended in spectacular defeat for him, humiliation and shame. Now, he's been taken today to Maghaberry Prison just outside Lisburn in County Antrim. We'll find out how long he'll spend there at some point in the autumn. The one thing, Sharon, we do know for certain, that tonight is the first of many. Jeffrey Donaldson will spend behind bars as a convicted sex offender.
Northern editor Vincent Kearney, thank you. Well, we're turning now to the Donaldson case and the former DUP leader being found guilty on 18 sexual offence charges, including one count of rape. And I'm joined now by Joanne Barnes of Nexus Northern Ireland, an organisation that offers support to abuse survivors. Joanne, thank you so much for joining us on the programme this evening. I might start by asking you, how significant is it when somebody as high profile as Jeffrey Donaldson is convicted of these crimes?
Yeah, this case has profound significance. What we do know at the heart of all abuse usually lies misuse of power and trust. And that has been the same on this occasion. Quite often people get themselves into quite significant roles of power and authority, and then they abuse that. So this guilty verdict not only brings a sense of justice and accountability for the victims at the centre of this, but also hope to other victims and survivors out there who maybe yet are to speak up about what they've experienced to come forward, and hopefully gives them that confidence that a guilty outcome and a justice outcome can be achieved despite the passage of time that has travelled.
It is a gruelling process, though, because during this trial, it was put to one of the women that she was an unreliable witness. Another was told that her allegation of rape almost defies belief. How do you convince people to go through that process?
Yeah, I think what this case does demonstrate is there's still significant learning to be taken and significant improvements for our justice process to be victim-centred. When we see victim blaming, when we see the perpetration of rape myths in court, we know we've a long way to go to change society's views, but also our justice system views on how the protection of victims and the safeguarding of them is put to the priority in such cases. I suppose for us, There was good learnings in the use of closed courts, use of remote evidence centres, all of which are quite recent developments in Northern Ireland since the introduction of the Gillen Review in 2019. So we've seen some progress, but we're still yet to see any real improvements on delay and the whole victim blaming culture that goes along with sexual offences.
Now, Eleanor Donaldson was found to have aided and abetted her husband in his crimes. What would you say this evening to anybody who could be in that position?
I think this is really difficult because unfortunately we didn't see that individual in court. We didn't hear their testimony, and a file of the facts is extremely rare in these cases. I think it's only been used once before in Northern Ireland, but ultimately I think what it gives assurance to victims of is that regardless of whether you actually committed the offence, if you've been, I suppose, a contributor to the fact, that you will also be found guilty of these offences. And I think, again, that just validates the victim's personal experience, their lived experience, which we know, having that cross-examined in court, having that doubt put into it, having statements such as unreliable witness cast aspersions at you, to get that outcome that actually your lived experience was real, it did happen, you do deserve justice. That goes an extremely long way for these two individuals in terms of their healing and recovery, which will need to continue much longer after this case. OK,
Joanne Barnes, Chief Executive of Nexus Northern Ireland, thank you for speaking to us on 6-1 this evening. And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised here, support is available at rte.ie/helplines.